You wouldn't have known her. You'd have seen her everywhere at once, in a hotel, in a street, in a train, in a bar, in a book, in a film, in yourself, your inmost self. When your sex grew erect in the night,
Mm.
seeking somewhere to put itself, somewhere to shed its load of tears.
Wow. I mean, that opening line, it stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's
Uh-huh.
so invasive.
It is. It's almost an accusation.
It's incredibly uncomfortable. You expect a story to start with, I don't know, once upon a time or something familiar. This just it points the finger right at you,
Right.
right at the reader. It's talking about my inmost self.
And shedding a load of tears. It's so raw, so immediately personal.
It feels less like a story starting and more like an indictment.
And that is exactly where Marguerite Duras wants you. She does not want you to be a passive observer. She doesn't want you sitting comfortably in your chair.
Yeah.
She wants you to feel implicated. From the very first sentence, you are part of the tragedy we're about to unpack.
Well, mission accomplished. Consider me implicated. Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we are tackling something that, honestly, I can only describe it as a haunting. We are looking at Marguerite Duras' The Malady of Death.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be completely honest with you, this is not a beach read. This is a text that feels like it was written at 3 in the morning during the absolute worst night of insomnia you've ever had.
That is a very, very apt description. The Malady of Death, or La Maladie de l'amour, it's a strange beast.
It is.
It was published in 1982, so it's later in her career. And it's a novella, but it's written in that second person, the you. And it's also, weirdly enough, a set of instructions for a play.
A play she didn't even think could be performed, right?
That's the thing. She seems to believe it's almost impossible to actually stage, which just adds another layer of mystery to it all.
So our mission today, I guess, is a little different. We're not just breaking down a plot. We are, for lack of a better word, performing an autopsy.
An autopsy of an emotion, or the lack of one. Exactly. We're going to look at this man who hires a woman to try and teach him what love is, and we're going to explore this terrifying diagnosis he receives, the malady of death. And spoiler alert for everyone listening, the malady isn't, cancer or heart disease.
No.
It's the inability to love.
Which Duras argues is a form of death.
Same beast.
Maybe the only real form of death.
Right. And just before we get into the grim details, we really need to set the mood here. This whole story takes place in a room by the sea. It's stark. It's incredibly repetitive. It's almost hypnotic in a way.
It is.
So if you're expecting, a romance novel where the grumpy billionaire learns to love the quirky girl next door,
This is not that.
turn this off right now. This is the anti-romance. This is a story about a man who is so emotionally dead that he tries to buy a simulation of life and fails spectacularly.
And what's so unique about the source material we're working with, as you touched on, is that it includes her stage directions.
Yeah.
She doesn't just tell us what happens. She tells us how the lights should look, how the actors should speak, even that they shouldn't really be acting at all.
Exactly. It's this whole other layer.
We will definitely get to that meta layer later
Yes,
because
yeah.
it's mind-blowing. But let's start where the story starts. Section 1. The transaction and the contract.
The setup is it's brutally simple. A man approaches a woman. We don't know their names. We don't know where they are. They're just the man and a woman. And he makes her a proposition.
The line of the book is, "You may have paid her," which is such a strange way to put it.
That ambiguity is key, isn't it? You may have. It suggests this whole thing could be a memory or a fantasy. That maybe even the payment itself is a projection.
But she doesn't treat it like a fantasy. She's all business. He says, "I want you to come every night for a few days," and she just looks at him.
And says, in that case, it'd be expensive.
Right. And then he starts adding all these weird conditions, these rules, and her price just goes up. In that case, it'll be even more expensive.
I just love that detail. It immediately establishes her power. She is not a passive victim here, not in the way you might expect.
No, she's a professional.
She is a professional who is negotiating the terms of a very hazardous work environment. She has the upper hand, financially at least.
Okay, but let's pause on the why for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he doing this? This isn't just about sex, is it?
No, not all.
If he just wanted sex, there are much simpler, cheaper ways to get it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a multi-day live-in arrangement. What is he actually buying from her?
He's buying a laboratory experiment. He's buying a simulation of a relationship. The text says he wants to try. He wants to try loving.
Ugh, that phrasing. Try love. It drives me crazy. It sounds like he's trying a new brand of coffee or something. I think I'll try loving this week, see how it goes.
It completely reveals his fundamental misunderstanding of what love is. He thinks it's an activity. He thinks it's a skill you can practice.
Like learning to ride a bike.
Precisely. He thinks if he just replicates the right conditions, a woman's body in his bed, her scent on his pillows, that the result, love, will just emerge.
He wants to know her body, her scent, and this is another strange line. The risk of having children implicit in that body. He wants to touch the raw material of life.
And he also says he wants a place to weep. That line, that just stayed with me.
Me too. To sleep with his sex at rest, a place to weep.
It's just so incredibly sorrowful. It implies he's just full of this unshed grief, but he has no container for it. He needs her body not for pleasure, but as a vessel for his own despair.
He can't cry on his own.
He needs a witness, or at least the presence of one.
But not an active witness, right? That's the key. He wants a silent one. Which brings us to the conditions of the deal, because this is where it gets really creepy. He tells her she can't speak.
Mostly silent, yes. And she must be completely submissive. The text uses this really specific, really heavy comparison.
What is it?
It says she must be like peasant women in the barns after the harvest, and this is the one, as nuns are at God's.
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay, as nuns are at God's. Let's unpack that for a minute. Is he comparing himself to God?
In the closed system of that room. Absolutely. He is the creator of the scenario. He is the ultimate authority. But think about what the posture of a nun represents.
Total surrender.
Total surrender, total devotion. It's the erasure of the self in service to a higher power. He wants her to erase herself so completely that there's no friction, no resistance, no her.
But nuns love God. They revere God. This woman doesn't even know this guy. She's being paid.
Exactly. And that is the central tragedy of the entire transaction. He can buy the posture of the nun. He can pay her to kneel, to be silent, to submit her body, but he cannot buy the faith.
He can't buy the devotion.
Never. He's playing God in an empty church.
That is a terrifying image.
Yeah.
Playing God in an empty church. And the reason he gives for wanting this submission, he says it's so he can get used to her shape. He's afraid of not knowing where to put your body.
I mean, think about the awkwardness of a first date or the first time you sleep with someone new. There's that clumsiness. Where does my arm go? Are you comfortable? All of that. He is terrified of that awkwardness.
Because it requires communication.
It requires vulnerability. It requires you to care about the other person's experience. If she is totally submissive, if she's basically a statue that breathes, he doesn't have to worry about her comfort. He only has to worry about his own placement.
It's the most extreme form of avoidance I can imagine. He's trying to hack intimacy. He wants the physical closeness of a long-term partnership, that molding of bodies she talks about, without any of the emotional work it takes to get there.
He wants familiarity without history.
And she accepts. I mean, she asks why and what other conditions. But ultimately, she takes the deal. Is she just in it for the money? What's her angle here?
Well, and the money is definitely part of it. But I think Duras is suggesting something else, too. The woman is an observer. She's a scientist. By accepting the money, she creates a boundary for herself.
Oh, interesting.
If she were there voluntarily, she would be involved. She might get hurt. She might fall in love. Who knows? But because she is paid, she's a professional observing a specimen. The contract protects her heart just as much as it gives him control.
So the money is a shield for both of them.
I think so, yes.
For him, it buys control. For her, it buys detachment.
Exactly. It sanitizes the whole interaction. It lets them exist in this incredibly intense proximity without any of the messiness of real mutual obligation.
Okay, so the contract is metaphorically signed. Now, let's move into the room itself, section 2. The sensory world and the setting. Because Duras spends so much time describing this place. A room, a terrace, and the sea.
And the sea is just, it's inescapable, isn't it? It's like the fourth character in the story, and we have to talk about the Black Sea.
Yes. Okay, this part, I have to admit, it frustrated me at first. There's this recurring argument between them. He looks out at the ocean at night and says it's black. And she just calmly says, no, it's never black. And I remember reading it thinking, who cares? It's nighttime, the lights are off, water looks dark. Why is this such a big deal for them?
I think if you look at it literally, it just feels pedantic. It's an argument about shades of dark gray. But metaphorically, it is the central conflict of their entire worldviews.
How so?
When the man looks at the sea, what is he seeing?
He's seeing darkness, a void, Emptiness.
He sees the end of things. He sees an abyss. He is projecting his own internal emptiness onto the entire natural world. For him, the sea is a threat, a vacuum, a black hole that could swallow him up.
Okay. And for her?
She knows the true nature of water. She knows that even in the deepest, darkest night, the sea is moving. It has foam, it has currents, it has life teeming just beneath the surface. It reflects the starlight. It's never truly statically black because it is alive.
So he's a literalist of the void,
Hmm.
and she's a realist of life.
I think that's a brilliant way to put it. She perceives the hidden vitality in things, and he perceives the overwhelming mortality in things. They are standing side by side, looking at the exact same view, but they're seeing two completely different universes.
It just highlights his isolation so profoundly. He can't even agree on the color of the water with the person in his bed.
And he tries to force her to agree. He insists on it.
It's kind of gaslighting, isn't it? He wants her to validate his depression. He wants her to say, you're right, the world is a black, dead thing.
And she gently refuses. It is never black. She denies him that satisfaction. She won't let him pull her into his hopelessness.
So let's talk about the sensory experience inside the room. Because while the outside is black, inside it's all about smell and touch. The text is very specific about her scent.
Yes, heliotrope and citron.
It's such a specific combination.
It is. It's a bit old-fashioned, actually. Heliotrope is sweet, almost almond-like, and citron is sharp, citrusy, and it clings. It's on her hair, her clothes, the bed sheets. It fills the room.
And at first, he notices it. It's a fact. But later in the story, he starts to hate it. He calls it a stench.
That shift is so crucial. Why does a perfume become a stench?
I mean, because it's overwhelming. It's too much.
It's because it's evidence. It's proof. It's the undeniable proof that another human being is occupying his sterile space. He wants her to be a void he can weep into, but her smell insists that she's a person.
A person with a history.
With preferences, with her own biology. Her scent invades his Black Sea world, and it reminds him of life. And on some deep level, he finds life itself repulsive.
Wow, that connects directly to the visual description of her too. The text says she is long and smooth and hairless. She sounds almost like a marble statue.
Right.
But then Duras gives us this one tiny detail that just shatters that perfection. The freckles.
Yes. Freckles strewn all over her, in the places of the summer sun.
That line is just so beautiful. And so human. Freckles are caused by the sun. They're proof that she's been outside, that she has lived in the light.
While he has been hiding in the dark, the freckles are the signature of the world written on her body. They're imperfections, but they are vibrant, living imperfections. And to him, the dead man, these little signs of life are. They're fascinating, but they're also deeply alien to him.
And then there are her eyes.
Yeah.
The text says their color is somewhere between green and gray, but it's not the color that matters, it's the look.
The gaze.
The impossibility of getting past her gaze.
He can enter her body. He can pay for her time. He can control her movements. But he cannot penetrate that gaze. The eyes are the gatekeepers of the soul, of the self. And when she looks at him, she isn't looking with love or hate or even pity.
What is she looking at him with?
With that same scientific detachment we talked about. And that drives him crazy. He wants to possess her completely, but her look is the constant reminder that he can't.
It's the one thing you can't buy.
You can't.
You can't buy the way someone sees you.
Exactly.
Which brings us, I think, to the moment where she uses that very gaze to just
Yeah.
completely tear him apart. Section 3. Diagnosing the malady.
This is the turning point of the whole book. Up until now, he's under the illusion that he's the one in control. He's the employer, she's the employee. He's the subject, she's the object.
Right.
But then she wakes up from one of her long, deep, almost unnatural sleeps, and she diagnoses him.
The line is, the malady's getting more and more of a hold on you. It's reached your eyes, your voice.
I mean, can you imagine? You hire someone to be a submissive, silent object, and suddenly they turn into your doctor, giving you a terminal prognosis.
It completely flips the power dynamic on its head.
Instantly.
And he asks, what malady? He seems genuinely confused. He doesn't know.
Or he's in deep, deep denial, and she just gives it a name. She says, the malady of death.
So how does she know? Does she have, like, a secret medical degree we don't know about?
No, she says she saw it as soon as he spoke to her. It wasn't a lab test. It was an intuitive recognition. It's like walking into a room and smelling a gas leak. You just know something is fundamentally wrong. She sensed the absence of life in him immediately.
So let's try to define this malady, because it's not physical death. He's walking, talking, he's having sex. What are the symptoms, according to her?
Well, The primary symptom is the inability to love. But Duras goes so much deeper than that. She says he's a carrier of death. And then she delivers this absolutely devastating line.
Which is it?
He is dying without having any life to die to.
Dying without having any life to die to. I had to read that sentence 3 or 4 times. What does that actually mean?
Well, think about what death usually is. It's the end of a story. It's the cessation of a struggle or a passion or a journey. To die, you have to have first lived. You have to have accumulated memories and experiences and relationships to lose.
Okay.
But this man, he hasn't lived. He has just existed. So his death isn't a conclusion. It's just a fading out. It's a nullification of a nullity. There's nothing there to end.
That is so profound and so terrifying. It means he's a ghost long before he's even in the grave.
He is a dead man.
Yeah.
She even says it to him with a smile, which is just chilling. She says, a dead man is a strange thing. She looks at him like he's a biological curiosity.
Wow. And another symptom she points out is his solitude. But he kind of admits this himself, doesn't he? He says he can't distinguish between thinking he's lonely and actually being lonely.
Yes, and that is the trap of the hyper-intellectual or the chronic overthinker. He lives so much inside his own head that his thoughts about his feelings have replaced the feelings themselves.
He's dissociated.
Completely. He doesn't feel loneliness. He contemplates the concept of loneliness from a safe distance. He's an observer of his own life.
And she says his feelings are dull and sluggish, which is such a deep insult. It's not even that he's evil or cruel or monstrous. He's just boring.
Emotionally inert.
Yeah.
I mean, evil would require passion. Cruelty would require a desire to inflict pain.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have that much energy. He is just a flat line.
But wait, that flatness, that emotional inertia, it actually leads to something incredibly dangerous. Because if you feel nothing, you might be tempted to do something extreme just to feel something. And that leads us to section 4, intimacy, violence, and control.
We have to talk about the sex in this book because it is. It is pointedly not erotic. It's mechanical. It's desperate.
It's so disturbing. The text says he enters her blindly, often while she's asleep, and he weeps while he's doing it.
That image of the weeping man during the act of love is so central. It just reinforces that idea we talked about of the woman as a vessel. He isn't connecting with her. He's using her body as a place to expel his own misery.
It's like masturbation, but using another person's body as the tool.
It is. And then we get to the darkest moment in the entire book, the murder fantasy.
He goes out onto the terrace, he looks at that black sea he's so obsessed with, and he thinks about how easy it would be to just throw her over.
He describes her body as light.
He thinks about throwing her in to make her disappear. Why? I mean, is he angry with her? Does he hate her?
No, and that's the scariest part. It's not a crime of passion. He doesn't want to kill her because she cheated on him or because she laughed at him. He wants to kill her to clean up the room.
To clean up the room? What do you mean?
Remember the scent, the perfume that became a stench of life. Her very presence in his space is a constant, nagging reminder that he is dead and she's alive. It's a contrast that causes him pain.
So he kills her.
If he kills her, he removes the contrast. He can go back to his pure, black, sterile world without this annoying, vibrant, freckled creature contradicting his worldview. He wants to restore the purity of his void.
It's like wiping a smudge off a mirror. He just wants to wipe her out of existence so he doesn't have to see his own reflection next to her.
And here is the absolute kicker. She knows.
She tells him later. She says she sensed it in her sleep. She knew he wanted to kill her.
And she didn't wake up. She didn't scream. She didn't run away.
Why not? Is she suicidal? Does she have a death wish?
I don't think so. I think it's two things. First, it's her absolute commitment to the contract. She promised total submission, and she's delivering it to the ultimate terrifying degree. But second, and I think this is even more insulting for him, she knows he won't do it.
She knows he's too weak, too much of a coward.
I think she knows he's too dull. Murder takes will. It takes a real impulse. It takes a lapse in logic, to use her own phrase later on. He is too calculating, too careful, too inert. He wouldn't kill her because it would be messy and inconvenient and would require effort.
She's safe because he's incapable of a true act.
Even a violent one, yes.
She even says he doesn't understand the real wish to be about to kill a lover. She talks about that crime of passion killing someone to keep them forever so no one else can have them. That's a twisted form of love, sure, but it is a form of connection.
It is. It's a hot violence.
And he doesn't have that. He just has the cold urge to delete.
Hot violence versus cold erasure. He is all cold.
And there's that one moment where the coldness breaks, but in the wrong way. One night, she actually cries out in pleasure. It happens by accident. And what does he do?
He shuts it down immediately.
He puts his hand over her mouth. He silences her. And he says, one doesn't say such things.
One doesn't say such things. It's so polite, so bourgeois. It's absurd.
It reveals his desperate need for control. If she expresses pleasure, she suddenly becomes a subject in the act. She becomes a participant.
She's no longer just a body. She's a woman who is enjoying herself.
And that threatens his whole narrative. He has to be the solitary mourner using a tool. He cannot handle having a partner in the experience. He extinguishes her joy because her joy excludes him. He can't feel it, so he doesn't want to hear it.
It's the ultimate emotional selfishness.
So, we have a man who cannot love, who considers murder as a kind of morbid housekeeping, and who literally silences pleasure. It begs the question, what the hell is love then? If this guy is the embodiment of anti-love, what is the real thing? Which brings us to section 5, the definition of love.
This is where Duras gives us the golden nugget of the entire text. The man, in his detached academic way, asks her how love happens. He asks like a student asking a professor for a math formula. How does the sentiment of loving arise?
And her answer, I mean, I genuinely want to get this tattooed on my forehead. She says love is a sudden lapse in the logic of the universe.
A sudden lapse in the logic of the universe. It is such a radical and beautiful definition.
Okay, wait, explain that to me. Because usually we think of love as the thing that makes sense of the universe.
Yeah.
You know, love makes the world go round. She's saying love is a glitch in the system.
Think about the universe that Duras presents in this book. The tides rise and fall. The sun sets. People are born. People die. It's a machine. It's logical. It's utterly indifferent.
Right.
If you just follow the cold logic of survival, you eat, you sleep, you reproduce, you die. Love is irrational. Love is sacrificing yourself for someone else. Love is feeling pain when someone else is hurt. From a purely mechanical survivalist perspective, it doesn't make any logical sense. It is a mistake in the program.
So he can't love because he's too logical, too rational.
He's too guarded. She says love happens through a mistake, never an act of will. You cannot wake up on a Tuesday morning and decide, today I will fall in love with my mail carrier. It doesn't work that way. It happens to you. It strikes you like lightning.
And an accident.
It's an accident. She says it can come from a nightbird, sleep, a crime, or the approach of death. It comes from the unexpected cracks in reality.
And he is a man who has insured himself against all possible accidents.
Yeah.
The contract, the payment, the rules, it's all designed to prevent mistakes.
Exactly. He has proved his entire life against the lapse in logic. And in doing so, he has proved himself against love.
That makes so much sense. We see that everywhere today, don't we? The dating apps, the checklist for partners, must be 6 feet tall, must make 6 figures, must love hiking and dogs. We try to engineer the perfect match.
We try to algorithm our way into intimacy, but the algorithm is logical. Love is the moment the algorithm breaks. It's falling for the person who doesn't fit any of the items on the checklist. It's the surprise. And this man, he hates surprises.
She has that other brutal comparison. She looks at him and says, it's day, everything is about to begin, except you never begin.
That line just kills me. You never begin. He's stuck in a permanent pause. She calls it a deadly routine of lovelessness and hopeless monotony.
He's safe, but he's completely stagnant. She, on the other hand, is vulnerable. She sleeps naked in a stranger's house. She's at risk of being killed. But she is part of the beginning.
Because vulnerability is the price of admission for the lapse in logic. If you aren't breakable, you aren't touchable. You can't be affected.
So, inevitably, the experiment has to end. Which it does. Section 6. The disappearance and aftermath.
And it happens without any fanfare at all. One day, she is simply gone.
There's no goodbye note. There's no dramatic exit scene where she throws the money back in his face. It's just an empty room.
The only trace of her that's left is the cold mark of her body on the bed sheets.
And the text says something that just underlines what a complete failure this whole experiment was. It says that even if he went out to look for her, he wouldn't recognize her.
In the light of day, think about what that implies. He spent nights with her. He touched every inch of her skin. He memorized her scent. But he wouldn't know her face if he passed her on the street.
There's that line, the penetration of one body by another that you can't recognize, ever. And that just destroys the entire myth of sexual intimacy, doesn't it?
It does.
We're taught to think that sex equals knowing someone. Duras just says, nope.
Yeah.
You can be physically inside someone and remain a total stranger.
Because he never actually saw her. He saw his own projection. He saw a woman object to hold his tears and absorb his sadness. He never once looked at the person behind the freckles and the green-gray eyes.
So she vanishes.
Yeah.
And what does he do? Does he pine for her? Does he write a sad poem?
Yeah.
Does he stare out at the Black Sea?
No. He goes to a bar.
Of course he does.
And he tells the story. But it's how he tells it that's so important. First, he tries to tell it seriously as this profound, tragic thing that happened to him. But he realizes people won't get it, or maybe it just hurts too much to tell it that way, so he changes his tack. He tells it laughing, as if he just invented the whole thing.
Oh, man. that actually hit me harder than the murder fantasy. Because we've all seen that guy, haven't we? The guy at the bar making a big joke out of something that, actually destroyed him.
It's the ultimate defense mechanism. It's classic dissociation. If I can laugh about it, it wasn't real. If I can pretend I made it all up, if I say, hey guys, listen to this crazy story about a hooker I hired one time, then I didn't actually lose the one chance I had at life. I didn't actually fail at being human.
And just a guy telling a funny story.
Exactly. He's rewriting his own history in real time so he doesn't have to face the unbearable truth that he was standing next to a miracle, a potential cure for his malady, and he felt absolutely nothing.
He converts the tragedy into an anecdote.
And that's the final symptom of the malady, isn't it? The inability to take even your own pain seriously.
Losing it before it happened. That's the text's final verdict on him. He'd already lost the love before she even walked in the door.
Because the door was locked from the inside.
God, that is just bleak. But we aren't quite done yet, because we have to talk about maybe the weirdest part of this whole book. Section 7, the meta layer.
Yes. The staging instructions. This isn't just a story. It's a failed play.
Duras writes these very specific notes about how this piece should be performed. And she says, right up front, acting is replaced here by reading.
Acting is replaced by reading. It sounds completely counterintuitive. We go to the theater to see acting. That's the whole point.
But Duras insists. The man on stage should be holding the book. He should be reading his lines directly from the text. He should never become the character.
And the woman.
She speaks from memory. She's free. She's untethered. But he is literally tethered to the script.
So why? Why would she do that? Why deny us the performance?
Well, think about the emotional effect. If you had an actor on stage playing this role, if he really cried, if he screamed, if he acted out all the angst, what would we, the audience, do?
We'd empathize with him. We'd feel sorry for him.
You'd say, oh, that poor man, he's in so much pain. We'd get swept up in the melodrama. We'd have a good cry, a catharsis, and then we'd go home feeling better.
And Duras does not want that.
She wants the opposite. She wants what Brecht called the alienation effect. By having the man just read the text, she constantly reminds us, this is a story, this is a text, this is a diagnosis. She prevents us from identifying with him. She forces us to judge him.
It keeps us cold. It puts us in the position of the doctor looking at the x-ray rather than the family member holding the patient's hand.
That's a great analogy. We are observing the malady. We are not allowed to experience the tragedy.
And the lighting. She wants a total blackout when the woman disappears. And she says the white sheets on the bed should be a prior image of the sea.
That visual link is amazing. The white rumpled sheets and the white foam of the waves. She's connecting the domestic space, the bed, to the cosmic indifferent force of the ocean.
It suggests the turmoil that happened in that bed is as ancient and impersonal as the tide.
And no music, ever. Just the sound of the sea.
No violins to tell you how to feel. Just the relentless, rhythmic, indifferent sound of the universe continuing on, regardless of whether you manage to love or you die alone.
It just emphasizes his complete insignificance. The sea doesn't care about his malady. The universe doesn't care.
The universe is logical. The sea rises and falls. The man fails to love. It's all just data.
So we've dissected the body. We've looked at the contract, the Black Sea, the diagnosis, the violence, the bar story, the stage directions. What's the final verdict here? What are we supposed to take away from this?
I think if you zoom all the way out, the malady of death is a warning label.
A warning label for what?
For the danger of invulnerability. We live in a world that constantly tells us to be safe, be smart, protect your assets, build walls, guard your heart.
Right.
This man did all of that perfectly. He was perfectly safe. He was perfectly in control. And the result, he was dead long before his body died.
He successfully avoided the lapse in logic.
Yeah.
And in doing so, he missed his entire life.
The woman was the cure. The cure was her presence, her scent, her gaze, her unpredictability. The cure was the absolute messiness of being with another person. But the man was too far gone, too sick with his own safety to take the medicine.
It just brings me back to that definition of love again, a lapse in the logic of the universe. If love really is a mistake in the system, then maybe we should all be looking for the errors.
We spend so much of our time and energy trying to fix the glitches in our lives, trying to make everything perfect and predictable. Duras seems to be suggesting that the glitch is the life. If you're too perfect, too logical, too guarded, you might just fix yourself right out of existence.
So the takeaway is, what? Be messy. Be vulnerable. Let the sea be whatever color it wants to be.
And for God's sakes, don't treat other people like vessels for your own tears. Buy your own tissues.
Buy your own tissues. And if you meet someone who makes the universe feel a little bit illogical, a little bit glitchy, don't try to hire them. Don't try to control it. Just let the mistake happen.
Let the lapse occur.
This has been, well, it's been heavy. But good. I feel like I need to go stand in the sun for a while and, I don't know, count my freckles.
Don't do that. Prove you're alive.
Thanks for guiding us through the dark water on this one. And to you, the listener. You wouldn't have known her, but hopefully now you know a little bit more about the malady. Don't let it catch you.
Goodbye.
See you on the next Deep Dive.